Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Beth Orr, and welcome to Click Moments, where the right information at the right time is a portal from where you are to where you want to be. And this is episode 14. And today we're going to talk about radical trust. Radical trust. And before I get started riffing on this topic, for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, I want you to see this view. You see that? The sun is setting over the mountains. I had a friend who was so generous to let me be here in her beautiful space in Clayton, Georgia. And this actually culminated from a moment of radical trust, which is why I want to talk about this today. Because what I'm finding is, and this is why this is relevant, when I play it safe, and I stay in my comfort zone in my life, as I've done most of my life. Well, for the most part. When it comes to my career and it comes to a lot of my choices, the bigger choices, I played it pretty safe, right? And when I think about that and I'm in my comfort zone, what happens is pretty much know what's going to happen. Like when you're in a job and there's relatively low risk, and you're trusting that, it's going to work out, but it's not radical trust, right? And I'm going to explain the difference. You're trusting it's going to work out. You know what your paycheck is. You pretty much know what day to day it's going to be like. You've got a schedule. It's pretty well understood what life is going to be like. And then you get these opportunities to do different things that are add-ons. You get to go on vacation and choose what you want to do, or where you go in the evening, or how you spend your time. But for the most part, you're in your comfort zone. Things are pretty safe. What is interesting, though, is radical trust is different. To me, radical trust is I don't have a real clear understanding where this is going because I'm following my intuition. My intuition is that two-way communication system between me and the universe. And when the universe tells me to do something and I'm trusting it, that's radical trust because I rarely have assurances that this is going to work out. And when we don't have assurances, there's nothing solid. There's no A plus B always equals C. There's no contracts that you're signing that says this is definitive. If you do this, you're going to get that. Radical trust requires you to say, I believe in my heart of hearts. And sometimes I even know because of previous experience of seeing what happens when I follow this. But ultimately, I believe in my heart of hearts that A plus B, when the universe asks me to do this, then this is going to happen because this is what the universe says is going to happen. There's no contract, though. That's why it's radical trust. And sometimes, and actually more times than I care to, more times than I prefer, A plus B doesn't equal C. I hope it does. But sometimes C leads to D, leads to E, leads to F. So in the universe, sometimes the universe just wants to get you down the road. And you got to take one step and then go the next step. And then the next step's revealed. And then eventually you get however many steps the universe needs you to take. And it's usually proportionate to how big what you're asking for to co-create with the divine is. When we're doing something that we could do that's relatively safe, it may just require us to do one or two things. But when we feel called or we have an invitation to do something bigger, then that requires us to have no idea how many steps down the road it might be. Sometimes, and this is what's so interesting, taking that path means that we will fail, meaning we will learn from our actions over and over and over again until we actually have something happen that says, oh, okay, I've been cultivated. Think about this, like any skill that you learn in your life oftentimes requires you to practice. And so when you go to school or you go to college, you know that if you take this course and that course and this course and that course, well, somebody's got some auto needs. When you take this course and that course and this course and that course, it leads to a skill that then you're qualified to do something specific with it. But in the universe, when you're doing something that is new, sometimes you have no idea how long it's going to take to learn this skill or this lesson. And it's that level of risk or uncertainty that produces fear and can stop us from even trying. What I've found is that the universe gives us an invitation to do a lot of things. If we choose to do something safe, but we're contributing to society, that's wonderful. It's so valuable. It's not any less important than going for something else. The universe just is saying, how do you want to contribute? There's no good or bad. I don't believe that we're failing by choosing a safe route. But what I think the universe is doing is allowing us to make that choice. Very clearly, over and over, we've been told that we get the opportunity to co-create. And when we co-create and we're asking to do something big, when we're saying, universe, use me for something big, give me something that is beyond my capacity. If it's beyond my capacity or is bigger than what I'm comfortable doing right now, of course we have to be cultivated. We don't currently have the skills or the path to do this. And if you think about anybody who's done anything in this universe that is avant-garde, is a leader that has taken us somewhere. Think about Ford with Model Ts. Think about the Wright brothers with planes. Every inventor in the world was told that they were doing something that couldn't be done, right? And so that requires radical trust when you're an inventor. When you're Edison and you're doing the light bulb. And he made some quote that said, I've never failed. I just found, so many ways not to do it right, right? That required radical trust. What if it took 200 times to do the light bulb and he quit on 199? The universe didn't say, Thomas Edison, you're gonna do A plus B. You're gonna try once to do this light bulb. And if it doesn't work, go ahead and go back. Or if you try this one time, it's going to work, right? So it's fascinating to me that people that move us forward in this world as a species are always being asked to have radical trust, which is almost synonymous with faith. If you're somebody who has a spiritual orientation, that might be the synonym that you use for it. When we have faith when things are safe, it's like lower level faith, like a small f and a big F. Again, I don't think that God or the universe or the divine is keeping score per se. But I do think that we're being given opportunities to do something that the universe is asking, which is always about expansion. The divine's always wanting to have broader experiences, is wanting to grow and expand. And so we are being invited to have radical trust that when we are getting whispers of, hey, do this. Hey, this could be something that could be fun. This could be something that could give you a tremendous amount of joy. This could be something that moves other people and society in a way that gives us more compassion. Whatever it is that you're being called to do, it is going to be something that you're not forced to do. but that you're invited to do, that I'm invited to do, that we're invited to do. And it's always going to require radical trust because there's no guarantee, but it gives you the opportunity to have a big F faith, which gives you a different experience with the divine. When I'm grateful for what I'm so grateful for every single thing that I've had in my life. But I will tell you that there have been times in my life that what I'm doing has been so difficult that I'm suffering. And I'm suffering so much that it's so difficult over time to feel joy or to keep up the momentum of what's being asked of me. Or maybe I'm not able to co-create as strongly as what I would have wanted to. But it's interesting to me that I've never taken more risks than what I've taken in the last 2 years. I've had to have radical trust beyond what I'm comfortable with. I've had fear, uncertainty, frustration, anger, all the difficult emotions. But more than not, I've had these incredible emotions to where I've never felt more alive, and I've never felt more close to the divine. My personal opinion and the way that I want to live my life is that I want to be alive, so much so that I'm willing to have all of the emotions. And what I've recognized is that when I played it safe, yeah, of course I was contributing. I was doing really good things, and I'm so grateful that I did it. But as a light being, I was doing the same types of things over and over. So what I was doing was good in that I was helping to alleviate suffering with other people. But for myself, I believe that each of us have a personal path of growth, and that we will be able to expand ourselves and to be able to help humanity by doing that expansion. And sometimes we just get in a rut. We do the same things over and over and over again without remembering that we're also here to expand. We're also here to experience all of this. And every single time that I get outside my comfort zone and I tune in to my intuition and I get quiet and I connect with the divine over and over and over in my day, the universe is there whispering to me and giving me another invitation to move forward. And when I do, with radical trust and faith, the universe is always there to supply me. And when we act in that kind of kinship and belief in the divine, it brings us closer and closer and closer. There's this connection, there's this trust that gets more. We have more radical trust because we see that every single time that we are uncertain about what's going to happen and we're not maneuvering the way and keeping it safe, that we give space to the divine to be there, to respond. It's such an interesting phenomenon, and it's like something that we can't hypothetically walk into. It requires us to take one step at a time in faith. And it's almost like one small F faith step at a time, or a big F faith step at a time, leads to radical trust. It's like each step that we do, we get to see and cultivate faith. And it's not like, I really, really, really hope that this works out, with trepidation and anxiety. I've had so much anxiety in my life. And I believe that that is because I haven't taken enough risks until recently in order to allow space for the universe to actually share with me that when I walk in total faith and with radical trust that the universe will be there to supply along the way. It's like you start to cultivate this deep peace with knowing that if there's this anticipation, if there's this belief and a knowing that the universe is going to supply, that's a whole different experience. I've always been somebody who's been really interested in the vast range of feelings and experiences that we can have as human beings. I don't want to leave this world with like, for the most part, I'm feeling about, 10 emotions. And as good as this moment is, because of following a path that I didn't know what was going to happen, there still was some trepidation along the way. So let me tell you what went on for me to get here. Let me give you an illustration of this in a story. 3 months ago, I had an opportunity through somebody that I met through a women's entrepreneurial accelerator group to join up and for us to do a podcast together. Now, we decided, you know what, if we're going to do a podcast together, we should probably meet. So we did. And when we met, we knew. We were like, oh my gosh, this has been so easy. We had 4 episodes banked really quickly because we riff off of each other. Fast forward to 3 months later, this person just recently came here this last weekend, and we were like, we're going to act on something that came to us 3 months ago. 3 months ago, the universe said to us, hey, we actually asked into the universe. We said, I'll back up to make sure I get this story so that it's clear to you. We said, you know what? We both really like doing this podcast thing. And because we want to do this more often, universe, how could that happen? Could you show us a way? Instead of us muscling through and trying to do something, could you show us a way to make this podcast thing happen? And Bridget had an idea of sharing a story. When she shared that story, which required her to be vulnerable, I started laughing going, I have a story to share that's very similar to that just happened last week also. So we realized in that moment that it was giving us a clue. We got the clue, we looked it up, and we decided that there was a potential sponsor that we could reach out to. Or maybe not. Maybe it wasn't a sponsor, but it was a connection that we knew that we were supposed to make. We could come up with all kinds of potential reasons, but we don't know. Maybe it's just cultivating our ability to walk forward in faith. Maybe we have to do something big and potentially look ridiculous and cultivate. So what? It leads us to the next step, right? We don't know what it's for, but we've been doing all these other things on our own, building our businesses. And then we were like, we've got to make good on this. Like, we asked the universe for guidance and direction, and we haven't done it yet. And so we've got to make sure that we create this video, which is what we had thought that we were supposed to do, and reach out to this potential connection, because we know from researching this person, who, by the way, we had never known about before. But when we researched them, they actually aligned with what we're doing. I love this person's story, their origin story, their company, what they're doing to help women entrepreneurs in the world. I have so much respect for them, and I didn't even know they existed. Like, I didn't understand the story. So we decided we're going to put together this video, and because this is what kind of came to us, put together this video, and then we're going to drive cold call. It's not even cold call. It was like we had an idea of a gift to give this person, and then just a little note in there to tell them who we were, and to see, because we're only 50% of this equation. And we don't want to make assumptions about what this is and limit the potential. Instead, we just want what's good for the highest good. And so if it ends up being that this person, it resonates with them, it means that there's something that they are thinking about that we have no idea of. And it may not even be related to what we're excited about. But what if we could serve in a way that was on at a bigger level, and partner with them because we know that we're passionate about what they're passionate about, which is tuning into our intuition, doing work differently. I don't know if you guys if this resonates with you, but the way that we're doing the work in this world, if we're suffering, if we're exhausted, if we don't have enough energy for our families, if we're getting sick, if we're even we're so sick, we're disconnected from that work is making us sick, to where we have early mortality with different people because of the stress of their jobs. Stress is actually the #1 killer in our world, but we say heart disease. We say that it's hypertension. We say it's cancer. At this point, we understand that stress, which a lot of times is related to our jobs or to our personal lives, which are affected by our jobs, right? When we think about this, guys, there's a different way to organize our business. We don't have to work that way anymore, but we do have to decide that we want to do something different. And people are already doing it. This company that we reached out to, I went today. We made this video. We created what was on our heart. We asked the universe to guide us, to put into us something that would resonate with this individual. And we're gonna let it stand. We don't even know, like, I dropped Bridget off at the airport today, and then I drove to an entirely other city, 3 hours away, dropped off a present with information. Don't even know if the person who I gave it to is going to share it with them. I met 2 people there. One was lovely. The other one that I ended up giving it to, I don't know, looked like they were having maybe a difficult day. I'm sending them light. The point is, the universe will take care of whatever is supposed to happen. I'm not going to get worried about it. I'm letting it go. Like, it's literally something I'm just faith walking. And if it works out, great. I'm really excited about this potential. I'm really excited about how I can contribute to the world through this company. But if it doesn't work out, I trust that the universe is going to give me a new open door. What I learned today, I mean, I got to tell you, I had so much fun creating the video, creating the gift itself. I loved offering a gift to somebody that I didn't even know. That was awesome. I loved the awkwardness of getting through security saying, I have a gift for somebody, and no, I don't have an appointment. It was hilarious. Walking into a $1 billion company and with no appointment, signing in to a little tablet. Who are you here to see? Oh, the bigwig. Whose name's on the company, like right there. I'm like, oh, good Lord. Like, I mean, the amount of experience that I got by doing that, and I wasn't scared, and I wasn't frustrated. I was solely having a really good time. The road trip was awesome. I got to come back, and then I had my neighbor offer me to stay in her condo. This is amazing here. I get to spend the evening someplace and watch the sunset over the mountains and just enjoy, because I was willing to have radical trust. It doesn't make sense. What we're being asked to do does not make sense. If we need certainty, if we need to have everything wrapped up in this bow, radical trust isn't for us. But I got to be honest with you. The connection that I had to Spirit today, the amount of times that I gave such deep gratitude for just walking the path and getting to have the experience, the amount of joy that I had. I've laughed so hard today. Literally. Like Bridget and I laughed so hard this weekend about how ridiculous this probably sounds to people. But yet, when you have walked in a way that you trust what you're doing, and that what if us giving that gift to them produced something behind the scenes that was important, that needed to happen? What if that front desk person had an amazing experience because of something that happened that was supposed to happen because we gave the gift? What if it was on a bigger, higher level and it didn't have anything to do with us and we just did our part by being the delivery person? I'm in. I don't need the outcome to be about me. I want to be a conduit for whatever the universe wants to do. And if it asks me to do something, I don't need to know the results. I don't even need to be the beneficiary in the traditional ways. It's not about money. People are doing things, including me for most of my life, for my own livelihood. But the amount of payment that I got today, I'm gonna get choked up talking about this. The amount of joy that I got in creating this experience, in going through this. I got to go on a back road and see parts of the country that I've never seen, which is just a treat. It's like the universe loving on me, going, yeah, you know what? You're going on an adventure today. From the time I woke up this morning to now, it's been an adventure. The universe knows that I like adventure, knows that I'm willing to do the thing that gives in a way that isn't traditional in the human way. That I really am willing to do whatever it is for the highest good, and that I don't have to know the results. Think about how many times in your career, especially if you're in social services or medical field, that you give and you don't know the results. How many times do you save somebody's life as a doctor or nurse, and you never hear thank you, because it's just your job. It's what you do. You don't even know how they do once they leave. You're not doing it for that reason. You have an internal desire and a compass, a compassion meter that says, I want to do this. This is my calling, right? You don't do it for the outcome. You do it because this is what you're called to do. So there's this payoff that is beyond money when we're doing something that we feel called to do in this world. Sometimes we could even be embarrassed. Like, I had so many opportunities to be embarrassed today. I had a great experience. The first person that I saw when I handed off my little gift, well, let me tell you. So I go into, first of all, I finally find this place, and I say to security, they're like, who are you here to see? And I say, oh, I'm dropping off a gift. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let me ring you in. So I get rung in. It's pretty easy. And then I get in there, and there's nobody at the little vestibule. And so I'm like entering in my information, and I'm laughing the whole time, going, I'm putting in the biggest person here. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here to see this person, right? And the reason I had was other. There wasn't anything about what I was there to do. There was no selection for intuition told this person to come and deliver a gift, you know, a random gift without an appointment. That wasn't on there. So the first person, I'm just sitting there on the couch, taking it all in, laughing, going, this is lovely. I love this. This is so interesting. And I wonder what's going to happen. This is fascinating. And then a woman walks up and says, have you been helped? You could tell that it felt like this was part of the company culture. Have you been helped? And I said, no, I haven't. I entered my information into there, but I don't think they're expecting me. And I explained what was going on, and she introduced herself. She was lovely. Her name was Bethany. And I said, well, Bethany, I'm Beth. And I said, I told her what was going on, that I just randomly was coming to give a thank you gift to this person, and that there was a story behind it. And she laughed, and I said, yeah, I road tripped from Asheville, North Carolina to get here. It's about 3 hours. And then she kind of laughed, and she's like, well, are you just gonna wait for them? I don't even know where they're at. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I drove 3 hours. I came all the way here. So yeah, I feel like I should probably wait for him. And she's like, well, I would take it, but I'm not sure it's going to get to where you're going. And I'll try to help you out though. I'll try to get you connected. So eventually this person does come. And she wasn't as pleasant, but she did ask the required. She did get the assignment where it was, have you been helped? And I said no, and I explained. She took it, was like, but I didn't get upset. I was like, it's not about that. I'm not going to make any judgment about this. I'm going to send light, and I did my part. I delivered it, and so I have no idea. Here's the thing: if I get upset and I shoot shade at this woman, then I think that this is about me. This isn't about me. My job is to deliver it with radical trust. And if the universe wants me to have something happen because of it, then it will. But if it doesn't happen, do I really think that this woman at the front desk has more power than the universe? No. The universe has infinite power. So I'm not worried about her. All I can do is send her light. It may have nothing to do with her. From my experience, when somebody is acting a certain way towards you and you haven't done anything, it doesn't have anything to do with you. So the best thing you can do for them is to cut them some slack and send them some light. So that's what I did. Right? That's all we can do, is have radical trust. If we're asked to do something from the universe, it's in our best interest to, well, it's not just in our best interest. It's an act of love to the universe and accepting, and it's in the best interest of all of us. I don't know who was meant to be helped. Maybe that woman. I don't know. Maybe she took the gift and she needed it. Okay. If that's what happened, then the universe is all over that. I'm not in control of it. I did my part. That's all I heard. Do this. Same thing Bridget heard. Do this. We did. It's happened. And we're done. It'll do its thing. Now we're on for the next thing. Radical trust. It's not about the outcome. Just do the action that gets told to you. And we can only hear what's ours to do if we get quiet and we're not busy all the time, and we listen for it and we wait for it. That's the hardest part, is being quiet enough to not have what we want to happen, or what's safe to happen, or anything that's about us, but just to do the thing that the universe is asking and have faith. So it's a little riff about radical trust. What happened today? I hope that you found it helpful. I highly recommend it. Cultivating it. It is an opportunity to say yes to the universe in a way that will ultimately give you so much satisfaction. I feel like I'm definitely leaving this day going, I left it on the table. I did everything I could to answer that call. So I want to give as always, a special shout out to Micah McKenzie, who did the incredible cover art for Click Moments. I also want to thank Bridget Corns, who was a huge part of this. It wouldn't have happened, all of this wouldn't have happened if she wouldn't have had radical trust and followed her heart and made this happen also. So a special thanks to her also. And to all the people at the organization that I went to today. Got a lot of thanks for them, especially Bethany. She'll probably never know that this exists and that the thanks is going into the universe, but I sent her special thanks, as well as the front desk staff and to the security officer who let me in. All right, everybody. I hope that you cultivate some radical trust, and that you experience the benefits in your life in all the unexpected ways that come from taking such an action. So until next time, peace, love, and joy, my friends.